Namaskar students. In last class we have discussed how to calculate the dPA, and then we have discussed how much damage energy is there to create the damage inside a material when ion beam is falling. So that we have discussed radiation damage by using low energy ion beam, and how this damage is created and how much energy is required. That is Khinchin-Pease formula we have discussed. And before that we have discussed nuclear stopping and electronic stopping, and then we have seen that in case of nuclear stopping, point defects are created or atomic displacement take place. In case of electronic stopping, atomic excitation or ionization takes place, and columnar defect used to form. That we will discuss. So in today's in continuation of the previous lecture, so I have solved one problem related to the dPA and this damage energy and then number of displacements. So I have given, I think I have not given assignment last day of the lecture. So today I am giving this assignment. So here 2 assignments are written. So please solve these assignments and submit it to me via email or via on my WhatsApp group or in my personal WhatsApp. But remember, keep in mind one thing, that whatever assignment you will submit, please write it very neatly. Write the assignment, write the problem, and then you solve it very neatly. It is not necessary that you may solve all the problem, but at least you try to solve these numerical problems. So that will help you in order to understand how the radiation affects the material. So in today's lecture, we will discuss, I will define a new terminology, that is swift heavy ions in materials. Before what we have discussed heavy ions in matter, heavy ions in material, but I have added one term, that is swift heavy ion. If you see here, I have written swift heavy ion. So then what is the condition when we will call ion is swift heavy ion, when it is called just ion, simply ions? So whenever energy of the ion, means mass of the ion is heavy, obviously we have seen light ions and heavy ions. When the mass of the ion is greater than the, let us say, alpha, lithium, gold, that is heavy ions, but this shift word generates, means it gives that if the velocity of the ion is very very high, that is comparable to the Bohr velocity, then we will call that is ion is swift heavy ions. If the velocity of the ion is low, means we are calling that is low energy ions, as we have seen in previous lectures. But if the energy of the ion is very very high, that velocity may be greater than or equal to the Bohr electron velocity, then that ion is referred to the swift heavy ions. In that case, if you calculate the energy of that particular ion, so the condition is that the energy of the ion must be greater than or equal to the 1 million electron volt per nucleon. So MeV per nucleon. Here U I written, that is nucleon. Means the energy of the ion is divided by the charge, the atomic number of that particular species. So that is giving the energy per nucleon. So let us say we have let's say silicon. So energy of silicon is 50 million electron volt. Let us say 50 million electron volt, and we know that atomic number of silicon, that is 13. That is 14. So if you divide 50 by 14, so that is giving the MeV per nucleon. So if you calculate that 50 divided by 14, so obviously that is greater than 1. So that means in that case we will call the silicon is a swift heavy ions. That is the basic definition of swift heavy ion. And obviously if we are taking the swift heavy ions, that means electronic energy loss will be much larger than the nuclear energy loss, as we have discussed. So we have discussed that in case of electronic energy loss, we have seen that the ions create the excitation or ionization into the materials. I have discussed in the last class. Here if you see that I have discussed that in case of electronic energy loss, elastic collision take place or atomic excitation or ionization take place, and then columnar defect used to form and dominate at high energy. So that is in million electron volt energy. Here that is in kV electron energy. So whatever I have discussed in last class, that radiation damage and this Khinchin-Pease formula, then dPA, all these stuffs were for the low energy ions. So I am discussing about the swift heavy ions today. So whenever ion pass through a material, that means that whose energy is very very high, means we are calling that swift heavy ions. Then basically there 3 mechanisms take place. How this ion interact? Whenever we have discussed that in this case, ion interact with the electronic system. When ion interact with the electronic system, so there are three phenomena take place within the material. So that is what we are calling. That is we are calling the shift heavy ions. In that case, means when the energy of the ion is very high, that is of the order of million electron volt. So there are several phenomena like Coulomb explosion phenomena occurs, then thermal spike phenomena occurs, then pressure spike or shock wave model is to be generated within the material. So what is the Coulomb explosion? That I discussed. When shift heavy ion passes through a material, let us say here we have a material and this shift heavy ion is passing through. Shift heavy ion means an ion whose energy is of the order of million electron volts, means that energy should be greater than or equal to 1 MeV per nucleon. Okay. So when it is passing through the material, as we have discussed earlier, that by Bohr theory or Bethe-Bloch formula for the case of electronic energy loss, in this case ion interact with the electronic system. When ion is interacting with the electronic system, it will deposit its energy to the electron, means inelastic scattering take place. Okay. When inelastic scattering take place, so what will happen? This electron may get energy and it go into the excited state. That means atom may go into the excited state. Or if the energy deposited by the ion to the electron is greater than the binding energy of that electron and that particular atom, then electron may leave that particular atom. If electron leave that particular target atom, so that what will happen? That ionization of the atom take place within the target material. Okay. So then if ionization will take place, so here I have shown. So let us say that there was a material and ion was passing through the target. Then ionization, excitation and ionization both will take place, but ionization will also take place and excitation will also take place. So if ionization will take place, so what will happen? Along the path of the ion, means along the trajectory of the ion, because in this case, in the case of shift heavy ions, in the case of MeV ion energy, we have seen, we have learned that ion will not change its direction; it will move in a straight line path, as I have discussed. So it is moving in a straight line path, and it is creating a positive charge, means because of the ionization of the target atom. So it is created a positive charge. Here I have shown in two-dimensional picture. If you assume in a three-dimensional crystal, so it will be a cylinder kind of thing. Ion is passing through a material, it is creating a cylindrical zone across the axis of the ion, and that cylindrical zone, that will be a positive charge because of the ionization of the target atoms. So what will happen? Because of this positive charge, if you see this positive charge and this positive charge, there will be a Coulombic repulsion force. Because of this positive charge, a Coulombic repulsion force will occur, that is 1/4πε0 q square plus q square upon r. So because of this Coulombic repulsion force, these atoms, they will move apart because of the repulsion force. So here I have shown in diagram also. Let us say shift heavy ion passing through the material. So these are the target atoms. So when this ion is passing, it is depositing its energy to the electronic system, and this ionization take place. Because of the ionization, the positive, because of the positive ions, the Coulombic explosion take place, means Coulombic repulsion will take place. When Coulombic repulsion will take place, all the atoms which were in the around the axis of the ions, they will move apart. So that phenomena is known as the Coulombic explosion, because atomic explosion take place because of the Coulombic repulsion force. So that is known as the explosion, and this process is known as the Coulombic explosion. So that target atoms which were lying in the vicinity of the ion path, they will move apart. Okay, so this phenomena is known as the Coulombic explosion, and this phenomena is most preferably observed in insulator and semiconductor, but it is very difficult to observe in a metals. Why it is very difficult to observe in a metal? That I am giving as an assignment to all students. You have to tell why this Coulombic explosion is very difficult to observe in a metal, but it is observed in a insulator and semiconductor. Okay. So this is open question to all of you. You have to give answer on my YouTube channel or to my WhatsApp account. So when Coulombic repulsion takes place, atoms basically, whatever atoms are there, they will be moving apart from each other. Means there will be a agitation inside the material. So at the same time, when agitation of the material will take place, means material will move from their own places. So if you see here, a space is created and materials are moved inside the target. Okay. Then there is another phenomena happens. This phenomena, Coulomb explosion, occurs in the time of femtoseconds. Okay, means 10 to the power minus 15 second in the time that it happens. Okay. And after that, after Coulomb explosion phenomena, because all the atoms are get excited and ionized and Coulombic explosion takes place, so atoms move from their position. Then what will happen? The excited atoms or ionized atom, the excited atom will try to come into the ground states. When they will come into the when they will try to come into the ground states, what will happen? Electron will transfer their energy to the lattice, means atoms. Okay, so they will transfer their energy to the lattice. So this energy transfer takes place due to the two differential couple equation, that is known as the electron phonon coupling. I will show that what is the couple equation. So because of the electron phonon coupling, okay, so this excited electrons will transfer their energy to the lattice. Okay, so when, because of if the target electron will transfer their energy to the lattice temperature will suddenly increase up to a very high temperature. Okay, so this electrons emitted in a secondary process, means ionization take place. So electrons emitted, and these electrons, these are called as delta electrons. So this delta electron causes heating of a narrow cylindrical zone up to thousands of Kelvin in a picosecond region. Okay, so that means because of the electron phonon coupling, whatever electrons have with a high energy, they will transfer their energy to the lattice in a 10 to the power minus 12 second. So here it was, this phenomena was happening in a minus 15 second, and this phenomena is happening in 10 to the power minus 12 second. It means this thermal spike occurs thousands time later than the Coulomb explosion in a material. So Coulomb explosion will first take place, then thermal spike will take place. Okay. So because the temperature of that cylindrical zone across which ion is passing through, means if you see in the figure, so this cylindrical zone, this zone will be heated, means temperature will reach means around 200 300 Kelvin depending on the material, 1000 Kelvin. So that is why means there will be a spike in temperature. So that is why this phenomena is known as the thermal spike, thermal temperature spike. Okay. So now another phenomena is that when temperature spike happens in a material, let us say if you consider one atom, one ion. So let's say this is solid target. If ion is going, because of the Coulomb explosion takes place, and then thermal temperature spike takes place within a small cylindrical zone. Okay, then what will happen here? All the atoms will go into molten state because of the high temperature. That's 200 Kelvin, 300 Kelvin. This temperature is basically enough to melt the solid atoms. Okay, so this solid will go into the molten state within the cylindrical zone, but apart from the cylindrical zone, there will be no molten zone. So what will happen? So there will be compressive strain. If you see, because this will be the liquid and here solid is there, so compressive strain will develop across the cylindrical zone. Because of this compressive strain, so there will be a generation of pressure on the cylindrical zone. So that is why this is known as the pressure or shock wave model, evident by formation of high pressure pulse. So that is known as the pressure model. It means whenever swift heavy ion, high energy ions is passing through a material, so these three phenomena, this Coulomb explosion, thermal spike, and pressure shock wave model, these phenomena occurs simultaneously. First Coulomb explosion, then thermal spike, then pressure shock wave. Okay. So but as I told, this Coulomb explosion can be observed only in insulator and semiconductor. It cannot observed in a metal. But this thermal spike and this shock wave, this can be observed in a metal also. Okay. So let us discuss in the detail in the what is the Coulomb explosion model. So in a Coulomb explosion model, as I discussed, that an energetic ion during its transformation in insulator material ionize the atom in a cylindrical region along the ion path. Repulsive electrostatic Coulombic force, that is Q1 Q2 upon R square. I have just missed 1 upon 4.570. That is basically the constant. Act during the period before charge neutrality is restored, giving rise to a violent explosion. What I have already explained. The Coulomb explosion occurs only if the charge neutralization time exceeds 10 to the power minus 14 seconds. This phenomena leads to the localized damage or change of the lattice within a narrow cylindrical zone in insulator semiconductor, but not in metal, what I have already discussed. Okay, so metal, why it will not happen in metal, that I have basically given answer. Now you have to read and you have to give me answer. So that is what happened in the Coulomb explosion, I have already discussed. Okay, so here I have just given some mathematical formula. So that I have already discussed that mechanical mechanical tensile strain and everything it happens within the material. So just you have to read, and if question is asked about the Coulomb explosion, you have to write these answers. Okay. Now let us, as I already discussed, the thermal spike also. So in case of thermal spike, when the projectile ion gives its energy to the electron system, as we discussed, when heavy ion radiation passes through a material, it interact with the electrons of the target material. When it interact with the electron of the target material, then the electron of the target material will transfer their energy to the lattice via electron-photon coupling from hot electron system during the characteristic time of 10 to the power minus 13 seconds, that is of the order of picosecond. It is assumed that when the temperature exceeds the melting point of the material, a transient molten state is formed in a localized cylindrical zone of a few nanometers along the ion path, existing for short duration in typically 10 to the power minus 12 second time scale, known as the thermal spike. Okay, as I discussed, the rapid thermal quenching of the hot cylindrical zone means when this temperature quenching will be, when the temperature will decrease, because this phenomena is happening in a very short time. So that is why here rapid thermal quenching means temperature will quench when down in a very short time. Then the hot cylindrical region result in amorphous strike. This happens only in case of if material is crystalline, then that whatever cylindrical zone is created, that is hot cylindrical zone, that will become in amorphous. If it is a semiconductor or it is a metal. If it is crystalline, then it will be amorphous. If it is amorphous, it may become in a crystalline. So that is that track, amorphous track, that is known as the, sometimes we call as a latent track along the ion path in a short span of time, that is 10 to the power minus 11 seconds. Means that whatever Coulomb this thermal spike occurs, that is in 10 to the power minus 13 to 10 to the power minus 12 seconds, lattice will cool within 10 to the power minus 11 seconds. Okay, and then this the typical diameter of that latent track, the cylindrical zone, that is of the order of 10 nanometer. Okay, so this narrow cylindrical of material that was rapidly heated to high temperature and transiently and rapidly quenched by thermal conduction result in a modified material within a cylindrical zone. So whatever material modification occurs due to the swift heavy ion radiation, that it is assumed that there are several models to explain the material modification, that nowadays this thermal spike and Coulomb explosions, Coulomb explosion and thermal spikes are assumed to be one of the good two models which explain the material modifications by using the swift heavy ion radiation. Okay, as I discussed, these electron-photon couplings take place because of the basically two heat equation, that is two couple equation. So this is two couple equation, and because of these two equations, electron-photon coupling takes place, and then electronic this electronic system transfer their energy to the lattice system, and that is why lattice get heated with a very high temperature into the molten zone. So here I have defined everything, and you can go to and read. If a question is asked, you can read the answer. You can give the answer. Okay. So now here in this slide, in this PPT, I have shown thermal spike calculations using thermal spike code. As I discussed, when a material passes through whenever a swift heavy ions passes through a material, what will happen? First, Coulomb explosion will take place. Okay, so I have explained what is the Coulomb explosion. Okay, after Coulomb explosion, when this Coulomb explosion will generate the secondary electrons and delta electrons, then these high energetic delta electrons and also excited atoms are there. So these excited atoms and the delta electrons will transfer their energy to the lattice via electron-photon coupling, and then because of that the lattice temperature will rise up in a very high temperature up to thousands of Kelvin in a small cylindrical zone. Okay, so these two models happens in a material, but in metal this Coulomb explosion may not occur. That I have given answer in this PPT here. You have to read and you have to give me answer. I have given an assignment to you. So this temperature will increase very high temperature. So can we estimate this temperature? Yes, we can estimate the temperature. So that temperature can be estimated by using a software that is known as the thermal spy code. Okay, so here I have shown for different material how much temperature can be increased within a cylindrical zone. So this is done by the thermal spy code, and this thermal spy code is developed by the Marcel Tourneman. He is a French scientist. He is a pioneering. He is a living legend. Still, I have interacted with him so many times. So he wrote the thermal spy code, and it is freely available on the internet. Even anybody can use, download, and can use to estimate the temperature. So here I have taken, let us say for example, I have taken 150 maybe nickel iron in zinc sulfide thin film. Then we have bombarded this zinc sulfide target, okay, with 150 maybe nickel iron. So if you calculate, means whether we will call this swift heavy ion or not, obviously nickel have I think 28 or 29 atomic number, and this energy is 150 maybe. So if you divide 150 by 28, I think 29. So 29, so obviously this will be greater than 1. So that means this nickel is swift heavy ions. If it is swift heavy ion, it means when this nickel ion will pass through the material, because this zinc sulfide is a semiconductor, so it will create a Coulombic explosion in a small cylindrical zone, and because of the after Coulomb explosion there will be heating up temperature along the cylindrical zone. If there will be heating of the temperature, means thermal spike will be there. Then after that we have learned that pressure may be generated within the narrow cylindrical zone. So this, okay. So here I have taken example of, let us say one ion is passing through the material. So this temperature also depend upon the radius of the ion, radius of the track. Okay. So on x-axis I have plotted time scale, and y-axis lattice temperature. If you see, on y-axis I have written lattice temperature. This lattice temperature occurs because of the after electron proton coupling. Means when electrons have atoms have gone into the excited state, when they are coming into the ground state, then because of these two coupled equation, electron proton coupling takes place. After this temperature of the lattice increase. So if radius of the track is 2 nanometer, if you see, the temperature gone to the 2100 Kelvin. If radius is 4 nanometer, that is nearly 1700. So as the radius, as we are moving far from the axis of the ions, the temperature is decreasing. Even though, let us say at 12 nanometer from the axis of the ion path, so that is temperature is nearly 500 or 600 Kelvin. So this is very huge temperature. It means there will be distribution of temperature along the ion path. At the center of the ion axis, that temperature will be very, very high, and as we are moving from the axis, far from the axis, the temperature will be decreasing. Okay. So, and I discussed this thermal spike occurs in the time span of 10 power minus picosecond. So that is minus 12 to minus. So if you see here, minus average time, that is minus 13 to minus 12 second. That is peaking. This temperature is peaking, and this is basically Coulomb. This is Coulomb explosion. And after Coulomb explosion, this temperature increases. So that 10 power minus 14, it spans up to 10 power minus PC minus 11 time. So the temperature is cooling down. So the temperature spans for a 10 power minus 13 to minus 12 second time. So this after that cooling occurs within the cylindrical zone. As we have discussed earlier, that because of this temperature, there may be pressure may be also generated because of the tensile stress or compressive stress. So here I have in this I have published this paper in Physica B. If anybody is interested, can see this reference. That is my PhD work. So I have estimated temperature with respect to pressure. If you see here, so I have calculated the if temperature of that lattice, that is 1600. So the 1600, if you see, that corresponding pressure is nearly that is 3.5 gigapascal. If you go up to the 22,100 Kelvin, so corresponding that pressure is 4 gigapascal. It means within the small cylindrical zone, very, very huge pressure is generating within the material. So in this way, one can modify the material. For this case, I have used this model, thermal spike and Coulomb explosion model, to explain the structural phase transition due to ion radiation in this paper. So that I will not discuss. I will maybe discuss later. Similarly, here this is our recent work which we have calculated the thermal spike. Here I have given, if you see, electronic temperature and lattice temperature, and electronic temperature and lattice temperature for, I think this is for silicon, and this is for aluminum, and this is for silicon, and this is for aluminum. Here I think this is not visible. So in another paper we have discussed, that is very good paper, RSC Advances. So that recently paper, here I think we have discussed this in amorphous silicon. If you see, we have amorphous silicon and we have a crystalline aluminum. So amorphous silicon, so this lattice temperature goes to the 700 Kelvin, okay, and this ion beam radiation was done at elevated temperature, means at 100 degrees. This is the 100 degrees centigrade at the ambient temperature, 200 degrees centigrade at the ambient temperature. So ambient temperature, it means thermal spike calculation can be done at ambient temperature also, okay. Similarly, if you see here lattice temperature, so for crystalline aluminum, that is also going similarly quite similar to it. Here if you see, for this diagram, if you see this electronic temperature is, if you see, that is much higher. If you see that for different radius we have given, so at the center of the axis, this black curve, if you see, so that is going to the, I think 120, that is very huge. I think 1 2 3 4 5 6, it's nearly 120 million Kelvin. So that is very huge temperature. If you see that axis, now if you see the lattice temperature, so for the zero track, so that is nearly 600 Kelvin. It means electronic temperature increases very fast, but because of electron phonon coupling, this all electronic temperature is not transferred to the lattice temperature. So if you see here, for the zero track radius, this electronic temperature is 120, I think 120 thousandths Kelvin, 120 thousandths Kelvin. If you see here, that is only 600 Kelvin. It means electronic temperature increase very high, and because of electron phonon coupling, this electronic temperature is transferred to the lattice temperature. So that is why, if this lattice temperature is increased, it is enough to melt the target material, then this molten zone will be created. If it is not enough to melt the target material, then molten zone will be not created. If molten zone will be not created, then pressure will be not generated. So if you see here, in this case, for above case I have shown that there is 2100 Kelvin. So this obviously this temperature is enough to melt the zinc sulfide. So that is why pressure is generated. For here, I think there we have not. I think silicon will be. I think it will melt. Yeah, I think it will melt. It will not melt. It will supposed to melt at 700 Kelvin. Okay, so we can estimate this temperature also. This is thermal spiking, Coulomb explosion. And similarly, here I have tried to show that again Coulomb explosion and thermal spike. So how it happens within a material? So let us say we have a target atom. So here a high energy, that is the energy of the ion, should be greater than the or equal to the 1 MeV per nucleon, MeU. Okay, that is the electronic. It means that electronic stopping dominates. That means electronic energy loss is greater than the nuclear energy loss. So when energetic ion is passing through the materials, just it will shoot like if you hit a bullet from a gun. If you see, let us say we have a glass. So when we are hitting the bullet from a gun, this bullet will create a small hole within the material. Okay, but it will not, whole glass will not break. Why? Because of the high energy of the bullet. Similarly, if you see here in the target, similar phenomena occurs when we are hitting the energetic ion within a material. It will only create agitation along the path of the ion, and rest of the atom will be not affected by this passing of the ion. When this ion passes through the material, as we have discussed, that Coulomb explosion will take place, and after Coulomb explosion, the lattice temperature, because of the electron phonon coupling, lattice temperature will increase. If you see here, lattice temperature is increased very high, and then atom will be disturbed from their position. Then if atom will be disturbed, lattice will quench, means lattice will cool down within a very short time. So I have written here time scale also. Then the amorphous track will be created, the defect range, amorphous track will be created of the order of nanometer. depending upon if material is this initial material is crystalline, so it will be amorphous. If it is amorphous, it may be crystalline, depending upon which material is you are using, what is the ion you are using, how much energy loss is there. So there are several processes there, several parameters are there. So as we have discussed, if you see the time scale, incoming ion gives its energy to the electron gas, that is in 10 power minus 17 second. Means when this target is hitting this ion is hitting the target, so this ion will transfer its energy to the electronic system by electronic energy loss in 10 power minus 17 second. This may be different in different books. And local thermalization of electronic system means this ion means electronic system will get heated, as we have discussed. Means Coulomb explosion will take place and electronic system will heated, as we have discussed in this previous lecture slide, that this electronic temperature is of the order of 120,000 time. Okay, so this electronic system will be heated in 10 power minus 15 second. So that means Coulomb explosion take place. And after Coulomb explosion, because of the electron phonon coupling, this electronic temperature will be transferred to the lattice. So that happens, that is known as the thermal spike. So that happens in 10 power minus 14 to 10 power minus 12 second, as I have shown here in this graph. If you see in all graph I have shown. Okay, and then after this thermal spike, lattice will quench. Okay, so this local melting energy transfer to the subsystem should be greater than threshold value, that is 10 power minus 12 second. And after this heating, the lattice will melt and it will come to the ambient temperature or room temperature, whatever temperature we have kept, and that happens in 10 power minus 10 or minus 11 second. So that is known as the lattice quenching. So local region virtually gets cooled down at ambient temperature and spike broadens, means temperature slowly it will broaden, and this happens in 100 of picoseconds. That means of the order of 10 power minus 12 minus 11 or 10 power minus 9 seconds. So this is the time span of the this Swift-Hawaiian radiation. So this means Swift-Hawaiian radiation is a very short time process, and just is shoot the material and it modify the material property. So up to now I have discussed the different energy loss processes. If you go back, so this was the 36th slide I have discussed from the beginning. So if you go back to see, I have discussed the different ions, okay, how the charge interaction take place. Then I have derived the means electronic how the energy loss take place because of the heavy ions. The energy loss take place because of the two processes: nuclear energy loss, electronic energy loss. There may be other radiations also, energy loss process may be there, that is Bremsstrahlung radiation and current co-radiation, but this radiation take place for light ions, not for heavy ions. So that is extremely rare in material. And then I have discussed the electronic stopping, electronic energy loss, nuclear stopping, nuclear energy loss, and how this interaction take place. Then we have calculated the Bohr calculations for the, that is classical theory for the electronic energy loss calculations. So here we have find out the electronic energy loss. In the case of electronic energy loss, we have seen this with the ion which is shooting the target, that is not deflecting from its path, and it is just giving its energy to the electron. And we have seen in later on we have seen that the electron temperature is increased because of the transfer of energy, Coulomb explosion take place. We will see. And then this Bohr formula was unable to explain the interaction of the light ions, so that is why, and it was giving some approximate value. So for correct energy loss value, Bethe-Bloch have come up with the quantum consideration, and they have given the Bethe-Bloch formula. Just they have modified within the Bohr formula. Okay, and then this I have discussed the Bethe-Bloch formula, and then I have given some assignments, and then again I have discussed what are the parameters, that target parameter, incident ion parameter, target parameter, how this electronic energy loss depend upon the target and incident ion. Then let us say we have discussed about the heavy ions. Let's say we have light charge particle like electron and positron. Obviously the mechanism will be different. Then I have discussed. Then we have to consider the radiation loss, that is because of the Bremsstrahlung and collision. Collision we have earlier. It means this Bethe-Bloch formula we have to modify. So I have modified the Bethe-Bloch formula. This is just only you have to need to understand the Bremsstrahlung. And then again we have come to the energy loss process by heavy ions in material. So I have again defined the electronic energy loss and nuclear energy loss. Then I have again calculated nuclear energy loss given some problem, and then electronic this again I discussed the energy loss process of ions in solids. Okay, then then I have discussed, when I discussed the process, we come to know that this when ion is passing through the material, they are basically losing their charge. It means they may lose the charge or they may gain the charge. So that is why the charge state of the ion will change within the material. So that effective charge of moving ion we have discussed. Okay, then I have discussed the different parameter of energy loss. Let us say for nuclear energy loss, for electronic energy loss, if we are changing the atomic number or mass of the ion, how this nuclear energy loss is changing, how the electronic energy loss is changing. Okay, this I have shown in the graph. And then we have for the case of any ions, we have discussed the range of the ions. So that we have seen there is a distribution of the basically Gaussian distribution of the implanted ion projected range. And then we have discussed this calculation, how one can calculate the concentration, and then again we have discussed this for the case of range of the ions. And then we have discussed again we have compared the electronic energy loss and nuclear energy loss. Then we have considered the low energy loss process, and low energy basically create the radiation damage, means it creates the defect as I have discussed here, atomic displacement and point defects. In case of nuclear electronic energy loss, like inelastic collision, that atomic excitation or ionization take place, and in case of nuclear energy loss, atomic displacement or point defect. So we have to calculate how much defects can be how much defects will be created, means displacement per atom, how much will be created. Then we have discussed this, and I have given a numerical problem also. I hope you understood numerical problem. And then today I have given these assignments. You have to solve these assignments. Then today I discussed the basic what are the processes will take place when high energy loss, means shift heavy energy shift heavy ions will pass through the material. So basically Coulomb explosion, thermal spike, a pressure wave model can be assumed. And then I have discussed Coulomb explosion and Coulomb explosion, then thermal spike. Then I have shown how this thermal spike calculations, how the temperature is increasing with the material. So this is the time scale of thermal spike and Coulomb explosion model. So I hope these lectures are these lectures are beneficial to you, all of you, and this is sufficient for your understanding how the high energetic ions modify the interact with the material. So in next class we will use these energetic ions for the application. So here we have discussed the basic processes, how this energetic ion interact with the materials. So in next class, so how one can use these energetic ions for the several applications, like for material science, for nuclear physics, for atomic physics, for medical science, for environmental science, for geology, means for every branch of science. So thanking you very much for listening me. Stay home, stay safe, and thanking you very much. Thanks a lot.